we're breaking free. Yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty, breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting loud, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty, breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting louder, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty, breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. We're claiming our land.
I hate this show. Oh my goodness.
All right. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Are You Smarter Than a Politician? This is the political cage match where bold ideas win and bad ideas get wrecked. Tonight, we take on the forever war machine. From who really decides when America goes to war to the intelligence, propaganda, and political incentives that keep wars going, to the hidden cost to our economy, our liberties, and our elections. And tonight's contestants are three notable political minds from the amazing organization antiwar.com, who are leading the anti-war fight and breaking news that no one else has the guts to report. The questions are real and charged, and the issues are real. So get ready, because tonight you decide who is smarter than a politician. Joining us tonight for the first time, Kyle Anzalone. He is the host of the Kyle Anzalone Show. He is the news editor for libertarianinstitute.org and judgenap.com. He's also opinion editor at antiwar.com, and you can follow him on X at Kyle Anzalone, and then the little underscore. How are you tonight, Kyle?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to doing this.
Excellent. Plug your stuff. Tell everybody why they should follow you.
Absolutely. I'm the opinion editor at antiwar.com. So I put together the viewpoint section and the spotlight article there every day. So definitely check that out. And then I write news stories, mostly for the Libertarian Institute, but also some for judgenap.com. And also I cover for Dave DeCamp, our typical newsman at antiwar.com when he's out. But all my news articles, I always post them on my X account at Kyle Anzalone _. And my big kind of new project that I'm working on is the Kyle Anzalone Show, where I'm trying to bring in some, pretty big guests to talk to them about the war issues and really try to break down what we're covering at antiwar.com with people who have, analysts and experience, a lot of veterans and things like that on the show.
Excellent. Really enjoy your show. And like I was saying before we started the show, I caught part of the Daryl Cooper interview from yesterday. Everybody should check that out. It's amazing to see what you're doing, and you're getting bigger guests. Very, very cool. Thanks for doing this. Next up, Angela Keaton. She's the executive director of antiwar.com. You can follow her on X at antiwar.com and also antiwar news. How are you tonight, Angela?
I'm doing fine.
Excellent. Plug everything you're doing. Tell everybody about antiwar.com, please.
Okay, we just celebrated our 30th year, which shows you just how much work we still have to go. I've been at antiwar.com since 2008. Before that, I was a professional libertarian, it's embarrassingly enough. But antiwar.com, it's got all the news you need. You don't really have to go anywhere else if you want to just read one site. And it has all different perspectives, from anti-war views from all different perspectives. It's not just libertarian. We're not trying to create libertarians. We just want to make you anti-war. If you want to be a libertarian, that's great. We can talk to you secretly in the cult room, but right now, just be against war. That's all I really want. Okay.
Excellent. And it's my go-to place for news. And I just made a donation, and I would encourage everybody to go to antiwar.com/donate and make a donation as well. It's absolutely the news that we need in this day and age, especially crazy 2026. Also joining us tonight, Jason Ditz. He is the senior editor and writer at antiwar.com. You can follow him on X at Jason Ditz. How are you tonight, Jason?
I'm doing good. I've been at antiwar.com since 2004 and have been writing pretty much ever since. So a lot of different things are getting covered over the years, and it seems like a lot of wars that we didn't think we were going to get into, we end up getting into again.
Yeah, absolutely. Crazy times to have covered all of this. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. Also joining us, she took Tuesday off, but she came back. Terry Batts, how are you tonight, Terry?
I'm doing great. Thanks everybody for your thoughts and prayers. I do appreciate it. And to everybody that's talking to me right now in the chat, thank you. I love you. And I do appreciate all of you a lot. But we are so ready to go with anti-war, because I know you guys are as sick as I am. So let's get this done and have a great time while we're doing it. All right, let's do it.
Excellent. All right. And you can get our swag at freedomsuperstore.com. Follow us on YouTube and Rumble at Freedom Uncut. The shorts will be up shortly on YouTube from this episode. We are also doing 3 more libertarian state conventions, as well as the national convention. We will be at North Carolina this month, March 27th through 29th. Then we've got Texas and Colorado next month. And then we'll be finishing up in May at the national convention in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please come out and see us. Thank you to our subscribers. Too many to mention at this point. And we had a new one that I did not get on here. Heather, thank you for subscribing. You can subscribe to us on X for all of these benefits. It's your backstage pass. And if you want to sponsor the show, sponsor us at studio@freedomuncut.com. And speaking of sponsors, our Friday night show is sponsored by Xano. And if you're tired of surveillance coins dressed up as freedom tech, Xano is the real deal. Open source, enterprise-grade privacy, scalable and secure. Build, spend, and tokenize any asset without the peeping eyes. Xano isn't just private. It's none of their damn business. And if you're new to this space, visit intro.xano.org to learn how Xano gives you the power to own your own data, your money, and your assets, all in one simple, secure platform built for the real world. And thank you again to Xano for sponsoring the show. And all right, let's get into it here. Please share this out. Help bust the algorithm. I think everybody's having problems on X, especially if you're against the war. So please share this out on all the platforms. Help us out. You can follow Terry and I on X. I am at Smarter Game Show. She is BatT76. And helping behind the scenes is Amity, who is Amity Lee 13, and the great Casey, who does the They Both Suck podcast, and he's at American versus Gov. Appreciate their help as well. And a little happy congratulations, happy graduation to our video man extraordinaire, helps with all of our production and puts up with a lot of my nonsense. And because we're talking about anti-war tonight, he's in Venezuela, so he's been dealing with the wrath of the U.S. regime and empire building. So stay safe down there. Hope you're having a great graduation, David. Love you, man. And all right. I already mentioned that. And oh, yeah, you can still do the double donations at You Are the Power. So do that. It's youarethepower.net/donate. Had a lot of fun with them. If you didn't see the show last Friday, it was 3.5 hours of laughs and great information. So check that out. All of these great people were on it, and Spike was amazing as always. even though he may or may not have pulled it out at the end versus Justin Amash. I'm not going to ruin it for you if you haven't seen it. So, all right. So since Trump ruined peace prizes, the grand prize tonight is our own special grand prize. It is the Are You Smarter Than a Peace Prize. Also on the prize shelf is Mike Johnson's signature cologne Swamp Ass, as well as the Ayn Rand Fountainhead teddy bear. We also have the home edition of Are You Smarter Than a Politician if you want to annoy your friends and neighbors. We also have an assortment of libertarian bobbleheads, including the aforementioned Justin Amash. We also have the board game, Neoconopoly. So if you want to practice what we're talking tonight about war, this is a game of global domination. You know, you can bomb people, take their resources, enslave them, whatever you want to do. Also, we have the Trump random generator. How this works is you pull his arm and he pulls a tariff out of his ass. And we also, why do you need a piggy bank? If you have a central bank, you can destroy your own dollars at home. We have the dollar destroyer. And we also, somebody's got to take this off my hands. It's been on here since like November. Nobody wants it. It's a Trump nativity set. We paid a tariff for it. Please take this piece of shit home, somebody. And also, obviously, we have the Lego Killdozer, because nobody talks about the Killdozer more than me and Casey do. Once again, I just want to point out, donate to antiwar.com. It's antiwar.com/donate. I cannot stress the important work these people are doing. It's where I get my news. And I also want to give a shout out to Chris Townsend, who helped me with tonight's episode. He's a huge fan of you guys too. And he was one of the ones that was like, you got to get them on. You got to get them on. And so thanks to Chris. And the rules are tonight, I am the government. Whatever I say goes. Scoring errors count. Life isn't fair. Suck it up, Buttercup. Nobody cares. The rules are you can debate each other. You can veto an answer. Filibuster. You can tariff, redistribute an answer. And everybody starts off with negative 500 points because the government gets paid first. Here's how scoring works. The chat controls the score. So they can give or take up to 100 points from the contestant. They can give a reason why. They can not give a reason why. But also, because we believe in crony capitalism, since I'm the government, subscribers can give or take up to 200 points because they paid me, so they matter more. Nuking a score. Any former contestant can nuke a score, taking it down by 1,000 points. But the twist is a contestant can only be nuked one time, and it's got to be for a good answer or a good reason. All right. Lightning round. I will put Terry in the back. She handles the scoring and the chat. Make her life extremely difficult tonight. Thank you, Terry. All right. Kyle, to you. First question of the night. Category is war powers. Should the 2001 war authorization, oh my God, if I can't talk on the first question, I'm so screwed. Should the 2001 war authorization be repealed so it cannot justify new wars?
Absolutely. This is an extremely problematic piece of legislation that was put on the books after 9/11. And even now they're talking about when they frame the attacks on alleged drug vessels in the Caribbean, they're saying that these are terrorists. And while they haven't said they're using the 2001 AUMF for the strikes on the drug boats in the Caribbean, it sure seems like they are. So yeah, they're going to use it to start new wars today, tomorrow, and well into the future if we don't repeal it.
All right, great answer. Next question to you, Angela. Should states be allowed to refuse National Guard deployments to undeclared wars?
Of course. Yes. Yes. I was going to say, this is a good point for me to pitch to defend the Guard. There's acts trying to be passed in every state to avoid such a situation. Obviously, when you sign up for the National Guard, you're signing up for something very specific, and combat overseas is not that. So that's all I got to say. It's pretty clear.
Absolutely. We're big fans of Defend the Guard ourselves. They should pass that in every state. All right, Jason, to you. Category is wars without declarations. Should the president be able to start military strikes without Congress declaring war?
No, of course not. And the Constitution is very clear on that. This shouldn't be happening. It's happening constantly. We're going to war without declarations, and it needs to end.
Totally agree. All right, Kyle, back to you. Should any military action lasting more than 60 days require a new vote from Congress?
Yes, but any military action should require a vote from Congress. This is a misinterpretation of the War Powers Act that, the war state now uses to say we could go to war anywhere we want in the world for 60 days and then go back to Congress, assuming that once Americans are in danger or dying, Congress will never say no. And so there shouldn't be a 60-day window or any window unless Congress declares war, unless the people are on board. We don't go to war.
Excellent. Angela, to you. Should Congress automatically cut off funds for military operations it never authorized?
Congress should shut off all funds for everything, ever.
I agree. I'll take it. That counts. All right. Jason, to you. Category is the two-party war machine. Do both major parties ultimately support the same interventionist foreign policy?
More or less, yes. There are some subtle differences between which interventionism they support, but at the end of the day, they're two sides of the same coin.
Totally agree. Two nuts in the same sack, I like to say. Kyle, to you. Does partisan fighting distract from bipartisan support for military expansion?
Yes, this is a part of it. They get us arguing over domestic issues, so nobody realizes how similar they are on a lot of policy issues, including surveillance, state and foreign policy, and things like that.
Absolutely. Angela, to you. Has the two-party system helped sustain endless wars?
Yes. That's it.
Any reason why?
Well, I mean, we can do the Noam Chomsky thing. It's a 1.5 party country. This two-party nonsense is that's how we describe it because that's the way we think about it. But no, we have a one-party system here, so it doesn't matter who the hell wins. Some horrible person will win. That's the only thing that'll be certain.
Yeah. Like Tom Wood said, no matter who you vote for, you get John McCain, right? I like the 1.5 party. I've never heard that before. I like that a lot. All right, Jason, to you. Categories war and elections. Should voters treat foreign policy as a top election issue?
Absolutely. It's going to cost us more than almost any other issue in the long run. It's going to get people killed. It's just plain one of the most important issues out there.
Absolutely. All right, Kyle, to you. Should debates include questions about ending ongoing conflicts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things that we're really missing in this country is any substantial debate within really anywhere around Washington, D.C. about these wars and about our foreign policy. We're racking up trillions of dollars in debt on these wars. We've already had at least 14 young American men and women die in the war that Trump is currently fighting in the Middle East. And there's almost no debate about it in Washington.
Absolutely. They just talk about nonsense on those debates and don't talk about the important stuff. Angela, to you. Categories war and secrecy. Does government secrecy make it harder for voters to judge foreign policy decisions?
That's the whole point of it. There's no point to government secrecy isn't trying to hide things from us, what we do elsewhere, what we do here in the U.S.
Yeah. I like how they make entire servers classified and say, well, every single thing on the server is classified. So, Jason, to you. Should intelligence related to wars be declassified more quickly?
Absolutely. We need to know what we're discussing when we're discussing wars. And quite often, we don't know until well after the fact.
Yeah, for sure. Kyle, back to you. The category is war and intelligence failures. Have intelligence failures played a role in major wars?
I'm going to say no, because a lot of the intelligence failures are not really failures. They're, intentional mistakes made so they could gin up propaganda to do what they want to do. And to the extent that there are intelligence failures or what they would deem intelligence failures, like using an outdated map and end up bombing a girls' school in Tehran and killing 150 children aged between 7 and 12, incompetence, right? It's not an intelligence failure. Like they just don't care to get it right, and so they're okay with getting it wrong.
Yeah, $1 trillion for defense, and they got the wrong map and bomb a school, right? And it might be Iranian Tomahawk missiles, right? So, Angela, to you, should intelligence agencies face stronger oversight from Congress?
What intelligence agencies? There shouldn't be any.
Yeah, that probably is an oxymoron, right?
No, I mean, there's like, I mean, I love these questions, but yeah, it just like what intelligence agencies? I mean, only a country that's doing terrible things in the dark needs a CIA. Just like with the FBI, is usually was used to go after a civil rights movement or anti-war activists or anybody inconvenient. It's not there for solving crime. What crime would they be solving? Just the crimes they do.
Yeah, I like to say the questions are dumb because the government's even more dumb. So that don't blame me.
This is great.
All right, Jason, to you. Should intelligence claims about foreign threats be independently reviewed?
Absolutely. It would be nice if they were reviewed at all, but increasingly it seems like they can make up whatever they want, and that's good enough for most people.
Sure seems that way. All right. Enter your scores in the chat and donate to antiwar.com/donate. Help what these people are doing with their excellent work. And I forgot to go into the chat the first time, so there's going to be a bunch in the chat here. Paul is here to support those who support grassroots. And yes, you are definitely smarter than any politician. That's 100% true. William's here. Let's go. Dan's here. What's up, Dan? Woo, the party's starting. That's Chris, who I was mentioning that's such a fan of you guys. Chris Townsend. He always calls it free day. So right back at you, brother. Michael's here. What's up? Jacob Winograd's here from the Biblical Anarchy podcast. What's up, brother? Amity's here. What's up, Amity? Here we go. First 200 to Kyle for broadcasting from Maj's living room. I told you backstage, Kyle, you were going to get points for that. Minus 200 because I'm not in the intro. We're working on it. The intro is so old. We're working on it. I mentioned that my video guy's getting bombed right now, right? 1,000 points to Kyle, Jason, and Angela for keeping me up to date on foreign policy. Yeah, they are the best. Grumpy Gnome is here. What's up, Grumpy Gnome? Check out his Two Shots In podcast. 200 points back to free for having this awesome lineup. That's fair. Ovens is here. The lovely Ovens O'Brien. Check out XUM. There she is. Check out XUMtrip.com. She's our Tuesday sponsor and just a lovely person in our movement. 1,000 points. She's going to troll us.
She's definitely one of our donors. She's very proud.
I am a monthly donor to antiwar.com. You should be too. Yeah. 100 points to anybody who donates every month.
There you go. And she's giving points to Angela for the fan blowing her hair back in epic ways. Yeah, it does look like a White Snake video over there. HVAC soldiers here. Most people are smarter than a politician. That's 100% true. That's kind of the joke I was going for. Chris is here. Oh, yeah, lots of points to me for the badass show. Kobe's here. Anti-war crew, let's go. Mystic Mikester's here. Woohoo. 200 to Ditz for the 4+ years on Angela. Somebody's doing math. 200 to Angela, girl power. Casey's here. What's up, Casey? 100 points to anyone who donates to anti-war during the show. I'll be donating 20 after the show. Kilburn's here. What's up? Minus 100 to Kyle for test. I don't know what that was. Minus 100 to Angela to be fair to Kyle. All right, so we're just deducting points. We're taxing people. Points to Angela. Points to Angela for defend the guard. Points to Angela for defend the guard. Defend the guard. Points to Angela. Defend the guard. 100 points each to Kyle and Jason because I'm biased and will be overly generous to Angela all night. Minus to Jason for fibbing. He's not been writing for 24 years straight. Caught you in a little fib.
It feels like it.
Yeah. There's enough wars to write for 24 years straight. That's for sure. Points to Jason for ending presidential strong handing. There we go. Points to Angela. Congress should shut off all funds. Shut off all funds for everything. Shut the whole thing down. Points to Angela for shutting the spigot off completely. Travis is here from Appalachian Liberty. Check out his podcast as well. Points to Kyle. Domestic issues are used to distract from foreign policy crap. Points to Kyle for mentioning the surveillance state. 150 for 1.5 party. Yeah, I love that. Points to Jason. Foreign policy is super important. Jason, my dad has that barometer on his wall in his house. You hit the first decorative background points, 200. Yeah, people pick apart your interior design. I didn't mention that before the show. Points to Kyle for mentioning the debt. Points to Jason for transparency. Points to Kyle for the background. Points to Angela for mentioning the stupidity of government servers. Points to Kyle for pointing out government malice. Points to Jason for advocating for quicker declassification. Anzalone comes in with the badass spin on the question. Points to Kyle for calling it like it is. It's not an intelligence failure. It's intentional. Points to Kyle for calling intelligence failures intentional. Points to Angela, abolish all intel agencies. More points for that. Angela, you mean you don't trust the intentions of our benevolent government? LOL, we don't either. Oh, yeah, that's the Rev Joe Blank. Welcome. Michael's here. What's up, Michael? Points to Angela for no funding wars. All right, I think we got through it here. That was a lot of reading. Let's check the scoreboard and see where we're at. Kyle in the lead, 1525. Angela just behind, 1400. And Kyle's right there too, 1275. Kyle, Jason, you're in third place. Oh, I removed you, and I'm hitting all the wrong buttons now. Jason, you're in third place. What do you think so far?
Well, I think I should complain about the unfairness of the scoring and suggest that I'm going to make a dramatic comeback.
Yeah, I am the government, and so it should be unfair, and it should feel like you've been penalized heavily, maybe 50%. And Angela, you're in second place so far. How are you doing?
I'm just here to support the men.
And there's Obbins again. Kyle, first place. What do you think so far?
It's what I had expected so far. No, I'm just joking. It's been great. It's fun to talk to Angela and Jason anytime.
Excellent. Yeah, that's about it. It's what's expected. All right, let's jump back into it. Kyle, to you. Category is war lies that sold the war. Have governments exaggerated threats to justify wars?
Yes, but a lot of times there's no threat. You could say they exaggerate the threat of Iran's nuclear program, but there's never been a threat from Iran to the United States of America in the first place. They don't have missiles capable of hitting the United States of America. They don't have navy capable of crossing the Atlantic Ocean. There's no threat whatsoever. So they had to actually invent threats, not just exaggerate them.
Yeah, even the war lies suck nowadays. Angela, to you. Should leaders face consequences for misleading claims used to start wars?
Yeah, it's called the wall.
Like put them up against it? I like it. I like it. All right. Jason, to you. Should voters be skeptical of sudden claims about urgent foreign threats?
Always. There are always urgent claims about sudden foreign threats, and they're almost never true.
I'll take the under on that. They're probably never true. Kyle, to you. Should intelligence claims be independently verified before war?
Certainly. And, a part of it is on us as people to read the media and actually see what's being reported. Sometimes the war lies are debunked, but the government just keeps repeating them and the people believe them anyways.
Yeah, absolutely true. Angela, to you. Categories, the war on terror legacy. Did the war on terror expand far beyond its original mission?
Well, its original mission was to control all of us. So it's actually doing exactly what it promised, exactly what we knew it was going to do. So No, we've been this afraid for almost 25 years, and people have gotten used to it. I don't know what's going to make people think differently about any of this, because if seeing babies' bodies in little baggies hasn't moved them, I think hope is lost.
Yeah, I agree. Jason, to you. Should the war on terror be formally declared over?
Not only that, but we should declare that we were defeated and terror won.
Yeah, probably terror from our own government won. Kyle, to you. Did the war on terror create more instability in some regions?
No, it created more instability in every region. Because of the war on terror, we've seen terror attacks in the United States of America, in Europe. ISIS and other jihadist groups have spread from Morocco to the Philippines. As the boss at antiwar.com and the Libertarian Institute, Scott Horton, likes to say, on 9/11, Osama bin Laden's crew of jihadist bandits could crew a pirate ship. And now there's tens, if not hundreds of thousands of these lunatics who are, willing to kill in the name of religion and for political reasons.
Yeah, we were lucky. We had Scott Horton on. Absolutely love the work he's doing as well. One of the absolute best voices out there about this nonsense. Angela, to you. Categories the Afghanistan war legacy. Was the 20-year war in Afghanistan a failure of strategy?
It never should have happened. Failure strategy. You see our strategy in Iran. Yeah, so strategy. They're just trying to kill people. It's not. It's not. I know people are gonna they'll read a dozen books and they'll talk about Coinless. It doesn't matter. We went in there, destroyed a bunch of things, tore everything up, created all kinds of instability, and then got our asses booted out of there, pulled out of there, or whatever the hell happened toward the end when everyone's acting like an idiot, like the last chopper at Kabul or something. So yeah, it wasn't a failure. I mean, we killed a bunch of people. Aren't you happy about that? Don't you feel safer? I'm sorry, I'm not in a great mood.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. Yeah, the 20-year strategy to replace the Taliban with the Taliban, right? All right, Jason, to you. Should the United States avoid long-term nation-building missions?
Absolutely. And if for no other reason than that they're just not very good at it.
One of the many things they're not good at. It's a long list. Kyle, to you. Categories the Iraq War legacy. Did the Iraq War damage trust in U.S. intelligence claims about war?
I wish the answer was yes. I think there's some question marks around that, seeing how we've allowed the U.S. intelligence agency to lie us into wars in about a dozen countries since then.
Yeah, that's really true. Angela, to you. Should the architects of the Iraq War be held politically accountable?
It should be handled the way maybe the French Revolution did.
Interesting. I like it. I could get behind that. Jason, to you. Categories war and blowback. Do military interventions sometimes create future enemies?
Almost always. I would be hard-pressed to come up with a war of any import in the last 100 years that didn't create some future enemies.
Very true. Kyle, back to you. Did past interventions contribute to current conflicts?
Absolutely. A lot of the current conflicts we see going on are a result of past interventions, like the spread of jihadism from remote caves in Afghanistan throughout the Middle East. Although the major intervention going on in Iran today is certainly more a war choice of the president and isn't a result of instability created from past conflicts.
Absolutely. Angela, to you. Categories war and the federal budget. Should the Pentagon have to pass a full audit before receiving additional war funding?
Yeah, well, it should, in theory, yeah, it shouldn't exist. There's not going to be a budget after the revolution. Don't worry about the Pentagon. It's going to be gone. Well, I mean,
you think there's going to be a revolution, though?
Apartments, I don't know.
You think there's going to be a revolution, though?
I'm still holding out hope in the last, so many years. I don't know what's going to happen. It's probably going to be terrible. Everything's going to collapse. The dollar will collapse, and the U.S. will break down to different countries, and then people will figure it out, and we'll go back to something else. But it'll survive. We'll survive.
I'm with you. Jason, to you. Would Americans vote differently if they knew the true cost of modern wars?
I would certainly hope so.
Do you think so, though?
I'm not sure, because voting for cruelty seems to be the go-to for a lot of people, but I would hope if they knew the actual cost, it would change things.
Fair. Kyle, back to you. Oh, no. Enter scores and donate to antiwar.com/donate. Let's check out the chat. 100 to me just for donating $20 to antiwar.com. Thank you, Michael. Points to me for staying on brand and clicking the wrong buttons. Yeah, and Casey, I saw you lurking there, and I knew you were going to say stuff. Minus to Jason for complaining about the score. Yeah, that happens sometimes too. Minus to Jason for complaining about the score, but plus 200 pity points. So that's a net 100 there. Points to Jason for having to deal with Kyle's bragging. Kyle, we usually give points to people for talking with their hands. 200 for being so still. Points to Angela for mentioning the wall. What's up, Namrock? Namrock, one of my favorite all-time memers, by the way. So check him out on X. Points to Angela for wanting war criminals to assume room temperature. I like that. Just another brick in the wall. Points to Angela. Minus points to Kyle and points to Jason in the model of government redistribution. Yeah, that's fair, Evans. Points to Jason. Foreign threats are usually false flags. Points to Angela for the wall. Points for unapologetically advocating capital punishment for the regime. Yep, love that. Points to Angela for scaring me a little. That's fair.
They don't
Points
let me
to
out.
Angela. The war on terror has accomplished its goal of controlling us. That's 100% true. Points to Angela for the war is macabre. Minus to Jason, terror 1. Points to Angela, now up against the wall. What's up, Brent? Brent Freeman. He hosts the Aiming Up podcast, and Amity was just on yesterday, so check that out for sure. At least drugs are winning the war on drugs. That's true, Evans. We should just give you a mic. Points to Kyle. Our wars have destabilized everything. Points to Angela for telling it like it is. No strategy, just money in, money out. Idiots are everywhere. Points to Angela. Points to Kyle. There should be far more skepticism of our intelligence agencies. Kyle keeps bombing the questions with counterfacts. Badass. Points to him. Points to Angela for further war criminal extinguishing. Love that. Points to Jason. Blowback is a thing. Points to Angela and the Pentagon. Points to Angela for making apartments out of the Pentagon. I like that. Points to Angela for being on the same spice level as me. I love it. Yep. She's coming in hot tonight. You say you want a revolution. Points to Angela. Points to Jason. There's an insane amount of people who vote for cruelty. And Paula's here. Welcome, Paula. We killed a bunch of people. Don't you feel safer? Angela sums up 20-year war on terror. Love it. Let's check the scores.
I'm very proud of you.
Little flip-flop going on here. Angela jumped out front, 3,100 points. Kyle, 27-25. Jason, 24-75. Let's get back to it. Kyle, to you. Category is the war economy. Has the U.S. economy become too dependent on military spending?
Nope. It's just really the people around Washington, D.C., where their whole dependency and their whole network depends on the corruption and the blood money that they get from the Pentagon. But the rest of us would just be fine if the Pentagon, the whole military industrial complex, went bankrupt tomorrow.
Don't you think, though, they spread it out through every district in the country? So they're making different parts for weapons and planes, and they all make money off of it?
So William Hartung has done a really good job looking into this. And a lot of the actual jobs, a lot of the actual factory jobs that people work are terrible jobs. You're getting paid like $34,000 a year. You don't have good health insurance. You just go work at an Amazon fulfillment center and probably get a little bit bump in pay.
I like that. Replace the government with Amazon. I don't like Amazon, but I'm in favor of that. Angela, to you. Do wars contribute to rising prices at home?
My long dead father would say, "You can't have guns and butter. Pick one." Yeah, of course. It's why. I mean, why do I live in a city where there's thousands of people, men out still on the street? Why is that? Because we've spent all of the money. That's where all your money went. That's why everything's horrible. I mean, people have no idea just how involved and how big the empire is and how much it costs, and it doesn't. Nothing seems to register, and 2+ years of live stream genocide hasn't seemed to fix anyone's problems either.
No, that's true. All right, Jason, to you. Does the defense industry have too much influence over American foreign policy?
Does anyone else have any influence on American foreign policy at all? It seems like when there's a question is, what is America going to do? You just ask the defense contractors.
Yeah, that's true. Kyle, back to you. Category is War and the Federal Reserve. This category is brought to you by our friends at Zano. Appreciate them sponsoring the show. Does printing money make it easier for politicians to fund war?
Absolutely. It makes the payment for the war not come from like buying war bonds and Americans having to pay for the war up front, but rather through the hidden tax of inflation over a long period of time.
Very true. Angela, to you. Should wars be paid for with taxes instead of borrowing and money creation?
They shouldn't be wars at all.
But pretend like we're involved in.
Pretend like pretend.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you're gonna have to repeat that question again. I'm sorry, my brain's a little slow tonight.
No worries. You went with the correct answer, but we're living in this reality. So the question is, should wars be paid for with taxes instead of borrowing and money creation?
Well, I'm assuming in this. This is assuming that people can actually go in and vote for representatives who are going to do that. I'm sorry, wars.
Yeah.
The wars are expensive. Taxes.
Should wars be paid?
Yeah. Me up. See, I don't like two things: cops and taxes. And the thing, taxes, is going to screw me up there. How are you going to pay for them otherwise? Are you going to like sell swag at the war events? I don't know, bake sales. I don't know how else they are paying them. It's either taxes or money creation. A little printing press.
Yeah, they just print money and pay for them that way. Yeah, I'm with you. All right, Jason, to you. Categories war and crypto. Could decentralized currencies make it harder for governments to finance endless wars?
They could, but I'm not confident that they would, because it seems like if there's one thing the government will always find a way to do, it's to keep having wars.
Yeah, that's true. Kyle, to you. Does cryptocurrency weaken the ability of governments to enforce economic warfare?
It does seem to. I know the U.S. government has complained quite extensively about particularly the North Koreans' use of cryptocurrencies in order to invade American sanctions. And for a while in Venezuela, there was a pretty heavy Bitcoin mining industry. And so I'm sure to some degree it really does allow people to bypass sanctions and have a way to conduct transactions outside of the U.S. dollar and SWIFT system.
Absolutely. Angela, to you. Could widespread crypto adoption limit the financial power of governments during war?
It should in theory, but the original cryptocurrency, we were early at antiwar.com. We were very early adopters of that. We kind of always have been early adopters for those things. The original idea for Bitcoin was that you'd have money in theory that was mostly private. It'd give you some anonymity and would bypass any blood money of Federal Reserve notes. Since then, of course, you've seen different kinds of legislation. The state will, of course, get involved. Anything's at all successful, the state's going to grab it and take it away. But yes, in theory, it should do all those things. It's just that we constantly are battling a giant octopus of a state that's going to keep, people are going to come in, venture capitalists, which are just agents of the state. But all of that, they're just, it should, but it probably won't, because we're competing against people who are better at hacking things and better at getting legislation passed because they have more access, because they are part of the government and they're all part of the same system.
Yeah, I think that Bitcoin is captured, and that's why I support Xano, a real privacy coin, and freedom dollars and stuff like that. I think crypto, has lost that momentum. So, Jason, to you, should voters worry that wartime regulations could be used to permanently restrict crypto freedom?
Absolutely. History has shown that when the government feels that a type of freedom threatens their ability to fight wars, they're going to come up with a way to take it away, and it usually happens during wartime.
That's true. Kyle, to you, the category is endless wars. Should the United States set a hard limit on all overseas wars?
Well, assuming that we're going to fight a war, which I would never support, if Congress were going to pass a declaration of war or an authorization for use of military force, they should put a sunset date in that legislation in order to require Congress to vote on that again 2 years or 3 years or 5 years down the line. So you don't have a situation like we have with the 2001 and 2002 AUMFs, where they're used even today. Years later, even after Saddam and Osama bin Laden have both been dead for a decade and a half, we are using those AUMFs to wage war in Nigeria and the Caribbean and all over the Middle East.
Yeah, if you want to live eternally, have the U.S. fight a war against you, right? Your death doesn't even matter. Angela, to you. Should military operations automatically end if Congress does not vote to continue them?
Yes, that should be the policy immediately. No vote, nothing. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm living in this. I mean, if we're living in my world, this wouldn't be a situation to begin with. But there, and
yeah,
I'm
we're
sorry,
living in bad people's worlds.
It's not getting right now.
No, that's fair. All right, Jason, to you. Should the Pentagon have to present a clear exit strategy before entering any conflict?
Definitely. We're seeing that in Iran right now because there really isn't an exit strategy being offered at all, or even a suggestion of what they hope to accomplish.
Totally agree. Kyle, to you, the category is the world police debate. Should the United States stop acting as the world's police force?
Yes, we have problems here at home to deal with. We can't be going around the world and trying to pick winners and losers in each country and decide, oh, these people are moral, they have the high ground, we'll make sure that they're safe and protected. It doesn't work.
Yeah, absolutely true. Angela, to you. Should other nations take greater responsibility for global security?
Well, to protect themselves from us, they should. They should all work to protect themselves from the U.S. Now, if you mean Europe and NATO, yes, of course. But I mean, I don't. Why does NATO still exist? I mean, these are all questions that only exist because of this insane system. It's not, they wouldn't be quite the same and very different system.
Absolutely true. Jason, to you. Does global policing stretch American resources too far?
Not only stretches our resources too far, we aren't even particularly good at accomplishing it when we do have the resources.
That's a great point. Kyle, to you, the category is war and global power. Is maintaining global dominance worth the cost of constant military engagement?
Absolutely not. There's no benefit to the average Americans of being dominant on the world stage. We could trade with other nations, have good relations and business with other nations, and being a part of the world economy, Americans will have some benefit to access to trade, but we don't need to be the dominant superpower to do that. In fact, we've created a lot of chaos in the world markets with our war making, and it's only impoverished Americans.
Except for the Trump boys. Did you see the thing that they own a drone company now and we're only allowed to use American drones? And shockingly, they're one of the only American drone companies and their stock has doubled in the last week. Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy. Angela, to you. Does global power require constant military presence?
Only if you're causing all the chaos in the world. Yes. If you do what the U.S. does, it's going to need constant global security. Yes, because you're constantly creating enemies and destroying countries and cultures and civilizations. Like the apartheid Israel is completely wiping out cities that have been there for so many. I mean, like they're wiping out history, which is one of the reasons why there has to be a prosecution post the genocide.
I would not keep your fingers crossed, but yeah, that'd be a good idea. Yeah. Jason, to you. Should diplomacy play a larger role than military strength in global leadership?
It should, but it doesn't seem like it does, unfortunately. The ability of a country to have successful diplomatic relations is very easy to ignore if they don't have a large military.
Yeah. Agreed. Enter your scores now and donate at antiwar.com/donate. The chat is hopping. Let's check out what they're up to. Points to Kyle. DC is a plague. Yeah, 100%. That's the real pandemic is DC right there. No blood money. No more war machine. Points to Kyle. Points to Kyle for collapsing the military industrial complex. Points to Angela for showing up to a game show in her pajamas. Bold move. Points to Jason. The defense contractors are a plague. Points to Jason. The defense contractors are in control. Points to Kyle. Inflation is a tax. Points to Angela for being brain dead. What's up, Stan? Shouldn't be wars at all. All right, there we go. Rinse, repeat, and donate 200 to Angela. 200 to Angela for hating cops and taxes. William's here. What's up, William? Points for artfully dodging the necessity of taxes. LOL. Points to Jason. The state is perpetually bloodthirsty. Points to Kyle. Despite the piano in the background being out of tune.
I could go play it right now to prove it's in tune.
Yeah, there we go. Points to Angela for the visual and hand movements of the giant octopus. All right. Bonus points for Ovid's coming in and doing a little improv there.
I'm like a fan of white hole music over here.
100 trillion to anti-war and 100 to Angela. I'd give her more, but dictator free limits my spending. That's 100% true, William. You're going to be in the gulag if you keep mouthing off. Points to Jason. Crisis begets a Leviathan state. Points to Kyle. Sunset clauses are essential. Sunset. Yep. Points to Kyle for the very grounded answer. REAUMFs. Kyle, my best bud as a kid, lived on a street named Anzalone. 200 for nostalgia. That's so random. Points to Jason. Define the damn objectives and the exit strategy. Husband today researched the cost of war over the past 100 years. It was 15 trillion plus. If Americans received that money instead of the Pentagon, every adult and child would receive 47K. Yeah, I think 15 trillion is probably low on that number. Points to Kyle. We are not the world's police. Points to Kyle. America shouldn't be going abroad looking for monsters to destroy. No world police. Points to Angela about other countries needing to protect themselves from us. That's true. Points to Angela. NATO should not exist. Points to Angela. To hell with NATO. Points to Jason. We aren't good at accomplishing our foreign goals in the first place. Points to Jason for pointing out that government isn't just wasteful, but also incompetent. 100% true. Points to Kyle. We should be focused on trade instead of dominance. Points to Kyle and the damn empire. Points to Angela for waving her hands and keeping my dog watching. What's up, Brandon? Points to Jason for keeping an endgame. Points to Kyle for not wanting global dominance. Points to Jason for having a temp, humidity, and barometric pressure gauge on his walls. All I have is a thermostat. Points to Jason. I forgot the question, though. Thanks, free. Points to Angela. Netanyahu should be prosecuted. I'm hoping the rumors are true. I'm not going to get kicked off of stuff, but hoping the rumors are true. Points to Kyle for wearing a purple shirt.
Wait. Back up. That's Jason with the purple shirt.
Wait,
Yeah, that's me.
Avins, would you like to?
I actually
yeah.
looked, and I'm pretty sure this is a red shirt. When I saw that comment, I was like, "Huh."
That was cool
Sorry.
though. Everybody looked at their shirts at the same time. Everyone was like, Avins might be seeing colors the rest of us aren't seeing right
I
now.
just messed it up. I'm sorry. You know, all men look alike to me or something.
Yeah. Mr. Twigs is here. Welcome. Points to Angela. Share some of them with my friend Dave DeCamp. We love Dave DeCamp. He's doing amazing work. Wish he was at the Virginia convention we were just at, but he's got the new baby. Congrats on that. Points to Angela. Blockbuster called and wants their VHS tapes back. Oh wait, they are books. And points to Angela for the lifelike Hobbins doll. Yeah. The dancing Ovens doll at that.
Yeah, you know, it's like fully operational.
You just do the twist on the back, and there we go. All right, let's check the scoreboard. Kyle back in front, 50-25. Angela 4,900, and Jason 47.75. I feel like Jason's sneaking up. I feel like he's just lying in wait at this point. All right, let's get back to it. Kyle, to you. Category is the war with Iran. Should the United States avoid expanding the Iran war into a larger regional conflict?
Not only that, we should just end the war in Iran and pull all of our forces out of the Middle East today and solve a huge problem of the decades-long policy of having foreign bases in all these Gulf Arab countries. We don't need them there anymore. They're all damaged or partly destroyed from this conflict anyway. It's time to just bring the troops home. And yeah, if we continue to pour more troops in, as we saw today, another 2,500 U.S. troops head to the Middle East, it's only going to expand this conflict and make it into a bigger catastrophe than it already is.
Yeah, it's not a war, but it's a war, and we're not putting boots on the ground, but we're putting boots on the ground, and all the double talk. 100%. Angela, to you. Should Washington pursue negotiations with Iran even while fighting continues?
Why would the Iranians want to have any more negotiations with us? I mean, how many times do we keep? I mean, what would be the point? I mean, should they? I guess in theory, yes. If we're pretending this is like a real war, as opposed to just complete land grab, annihilation of thousands of years of West Asian and Central Asian history.
Yeah, I think they actually turned down the peace talks already, and I don't blame them at this point. Jason, you. Should the United States avoid regime change as a goal in the Iran war?
I think they should, because it's not going to work. And moreover, it would be nice if they had any goals in the war at all, instead of just war for its own sake.
Totally agree. Kyle, back to you. The category is Israeli role in the war. Should the United States automatically support Israel's military actions in the Iran war?
No, in fact, Secretary of State Marco Rubio and some other U.S. officials have come out and said that the U.S. had to attack Iran because Israel was going to attack Iran, and Iran would have responded by attacking U.S. bases in the Middle East. So therefore, we have to attack Iran to defend American soldiers. What we should have done is gone to the Iranians and said, look, we want no part of this war. You could have a war with Israel, and we're going to get all of our troops and all of our interceptors out of the region so you could have this war with the Israelis. So bring the troops home and let Israel fight their own wars that they really want to fight them.
Yeah. I saw the report that they gave the anti-aircraft missiles from our bases to Israel, so they don't even have the anti-aircraft missiles anymore. So it's just absolutely asinine. Angela, to you. Should Congress debate the level of U.S. involvement if Israel expands the war against Iran?
Well, yes. Yes, I mean, assuming that this was a war that was an actual war that needed to be fought in some abstract world, sure. It's not going to make any difference. Even if the roll call for the war, it doesn't matter. It's not relevant. It's only for civics classes at this point that we even ask these questions.
Absolutely. Jason, to you. When close allies are engaged in a conflict, Should American foreign policy maintain its independence?
Absolutely. Close allies can get you into a lot of trouble, and we saw that in World War One.
Absolutely. We all got the friend that's going to start the fight in the bar, and you should just not go to the bar with them. And that's Israel in this one. Kyle, to you. Category is U.S. bases under fire. Should attacks on U.S. bases abroad be treated as acts of war requiring congressional authorization before escalation?
Certainly in the case that we're looking at here, where the United States launched the unprovoked war in the first place, then you can't claim that we are just attacking back in defense of our own bases. There may be a scenario where an American base somewhere is attacked with no provocation whatsoever, and then maybe there could be some immediate defensive operations to make sure more Americans aren't killed before Congress acts. But to have larger military operations, you would need a declaration of Congress to go to war.
I agree. Angela, to you. Should overseas bases be reduced to lower conflict exposure?
Okay, I'm going to shorten the question. Should overseas bases be reduced? Yes. In fact, they all should be gone and gone away. I mean, for limit exposure, we're there. It's our own fault that we're there. I mean, the service, I mean, there's no reason to have all these people out there in the world. That's, to limit our exposure. We're the ones creating the problem. So, at this point, it's a volunteer military. If you sign up and you don't know what you're getting into, I don't know if I can really help you.
But they put their country so close to our 35 bases, Angela.
They're bastards. Those tricky Asians. Oh my God.
That's on them, right? Jason, to you. Categories proxy wars. Should the United States stop funding proxy wars in other countries?
Yes, it's expensive. It rarely works, and it often doesn't support what the U.S. thinks it's going to support.
I agree. Kyle, to you. Do proxy wars risk dragging America into larger conflict?
Absolutely. The whole idea of having a proxy war kind of pretends like the actual enemy country is stupid and doesn't understand that you're supporting the country that they're at war with. And so, from the Russian perspective, they have said it time and time again that they view the West and the United States and America directly at war with Russia at this point. So we really do see risk of dragging ourselves into a much deeper and more entangling conflict.
Absolutely. Angela, back to you. Do proxy wars allow major powers to fight indirectly without declaring war?
Yes. I mean, and the way they're framed in the media is it's intentional for people to misunderstand the war. Like if you ask people about Ukraine, they're going to tell it from a point of view that doesn't really tell you the whole story about how the U.S. did things and then created a situation that we now have. So, yeah, I mean, it's a scam, but it's a scam to people who don't know who don't read about these things. Other people if you read enough, all you have to do is read the newspapers. You'll figure it out sooner or later.
Or read antiwar.com would be my suggestion. All right, Jason, to you. Category is sanctions as warfare. Can sanctions escalate conflicts instead of resolving them?
They not only can, they almost always do. There are very few cases where U.S. sanctions don't make the situation even worse.
Yeah, that's true. Kyle, to you. Do sanctions sometimes punish civilians more than governments?
They always punish civilians more than governments. If you look at what happens when a country is sanctioned, that country's military then becomes empowered to be the main smuggling apparatus for civilian goods in and out of the country. So it often artificially props up the state. It enriches members of the state that the leaders rarely suffer the way the civilians in those countries do. And we are talking about tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people dying every year because of U.S. sanctions, either because of a lack of food or more often a lack of medicine or sanitation equipment that's blocked from their country by the U.S. embargoes and blacklists and things like that.
Yeah, great answer. Angela, to you. Category is weapons sales abroad. Should the United States restrict weapons sales to foreign governments?
Well, since we're not talking about a person, we're talking about an illegal entity, Yes, it should, and it shouldn't be dealing guns in the first place.
Oliver North just entered the chat. Jason, to you. Do arms sales sometimes prolong regional conflicts?
Yes, and that's largely the point of these arms sales. It's to make a buck while keeping the war going.
Yeah. I was like, I said the other day that the arms dealers are like hillbillies in a parking lot shooting off fireworks. They'll do it for any reason, right? Kyle, to you. Do weapons exports risk drawing the U.S. into foreign conflicts?
Yeah, other countries notice when the U.S. is shipping arms, especially to their adversaries. So the best example now would be the China-Taiwan situation, where as the U.S. gives more and more advanced arms to the Taiwanese, and the government in Taipei gets closer and closer to declaring independence, Beijing looks at that and says, we're going to have to step up and intervene at some point to maintain what they view as Chinese sovereign territory, which is the territory of Taiwan. And so every time the U.S. sells more F-16s or Patriot missiles or perhaps even Tomahawk missiles to the Taiwanese, China gets that much closer to invading.
Absolutely. Angela, to you. The category is social media war zone. Does social media amplify calls for war during international crises?
I mean, if that's what the algorithm, if that's what the corporation wants, yes. Yeah. If you go on, the people talk about bots a lot. I don't actually believe everybody's a bot theory. You've got lots and lots of people with a lot of pro-war views and a great deal of time on their hands. It doesn't need actually to be organized. Most people buy into the empire, so it's not what messages get restricted are usually ours.
That's true as well. Jason, to you. Does misinformation online increase the risk of a false justification for war?
Sure, and false justifications for war are almost always how you get a war in the first place.
Yeah, that's true. Kyle, to you. Oh, no. Enter scores and donate to antiwar.com/donate. Let's check out what the chat is up to. 200 for Jason's purple shirt. That was my bad. Avins with the correction. Points to Jason for wearing the real color purple. Points to Kyle. We marched in and we can just march out. Points to Kyle. Bring the troops home. Woohoo, 100 to me for donating. Thank you, William. Points to Kyle, bring the troops home. Points to Angela, America is treacherous when it comes to negotiations. Points to Jason, regime change is stupid, 100%. We don't trust them. Why should Iran? Points to Angela, something like that, Chris. Points to Kyle, cut off Israel entirely. Lemmy's here. What's up, Lemmy? Points to Kyle. Points to Kyle for pointing out our terror state has no conscience. Points to Jason for an answer that was awesome, but I forgot what he said. Minus 25 to Angela for doing a civics class on a game show. Points to Jason for the World War I reference. Points to Kyle, let Israel fight their own war. Points to Jason, I have allies in all the wrong places. Is that a country song? I love that. Points to Angela for all the books on her bookshelf about Waco. Points to Angela, should overseas bases be reduced? Exactly. Points to those bastards. Points to Kyle for the nuanced answer about U.S. bases being attacked. Points to Jason and all the proxy wars. Points to Jason, I like news and anti-war. 100% doing a great job. Points to Angela. Points to Jason, sanctions are an act of war. Points to Jason, sanctions make things worse. See, here's Jason's coming on. I told you. Points to Kyle, sanctions punish civilians. Points to Kyle, sanctions are basically an inflation tax on another country's citizens. Points to Jason, short and sweet answers that are 100% spot on. Totally agree. Points to Jason, straight to the point. Points to Kyle, who is your decorator? That's a popular decor for podcasters. We call it the Maj Touré layout. Points to Free for the questions, pointing out that our governments don't have the real capacity for capitalism. Totally agree, Evans. Points to Kyle. Giving weapons to other countries is necessarily intervention. 1 billion points to Terry because she tells Free what to do. It's working. Yeah, that's true. Points to Angela. There are plenty of pro-war people. That is why democracy is a mistake. Hoppy's correct. Yeah, mob rule ain't cool. Points to Angela. Not all idiots are bots. That's true. War is a false justification. Points to Jason. And points to Angela. Fan on her hair. She's doing a photo shoot and a game show at the same time. Impressive. All right, let's check it out. Oh, it's getting real close now. Kyle in the lead, 66-25. Jason jumps to second, 61-75. 100 points in front of Angela. Last round. All right, Kyle, to you. Categories: war and technology. Is military technology making wars easier to start but harder to control?
Yes, I think we see that particularly in the war in Ukraine, where Ukraine's been able to develop a lot of small drone warfare very quickly. That's caused a lot of problems for the Russian invaders. And, we haven't quite, I guess, had the time to analyze everything that's happening in the Middle East so far. But even though the U.S. has these advanced missile defense systems that some of the Patriot interceptors cost $4 million each, and they're struggling to shoot down $100,000 Iranian missiles. And it seems over time that the Iranians have been able to poke a significant number of holes in the U.S. layered missile defense system in the Middle East with the relatively cheap and inexpensive missiles and drones. And so you're seeing that a country could kind of win an asymmetric war if they're just willing to hang on and suffer some blows from the occupying power with the ability to quickly develop weapon technology.
Totally agree. Angela, to you. Could cyber warfare become the next major battlefield?
It's a battlefield now. I mean, it's already happening. It's been happening. It will only get worse. None of this will get better short of a revolution or people just coming to their senses.
Or getting out of the system is what I advocate for sure. Jason, you. Does advanced technology create the illusion of clean wars?
It can, but if anything, it seems like it's making the wars dirtier and dirtier over time.
Okay. Kyle, back to you. Categories: drone warfare. Do drone strikes make it too easy for presidents to conduct wars without public debate?
No, it's not the drones. It's the cowardice of Congress, right? Congress knows that bombs are falling in foreign countries, dropped by drones controlled from people within the United States, and they could stop it at any point in time. They just refuse to assert their congressional authority. So it doesn't really matter if it's an F-16 or a Predator drone. If Congress isn't willing to stand up and tell the president no, then the president could do it.
Absolutely. Angela, to you. Should drone strikes require congressional oversight?
Yes. I mean, if they exist, yes. In their system, yes, they should be. All of this should require some kind of congressional oversight, but that's not what Congress is there for.
Well, theoretically it is, but yeah, I'm with you there. Maybe even independent oversight would be better, but I agree. Jason, you. Should the United States end targeted killings outside of declared war zones?
Absolutely. The problem is with these targeted killings in places that aren't war zones, we're effectively making everywhere a war zone.
Yeah. Especially the speedboats that can't make it here that are supposedly with the fentanyl or whatever they were saying it was. Kyle, to you. Do drone strikes risk creating more enemies than they eliminate?
They do create more enemies than they eliminate. And the best example of that is the war on terror. Again, I use the analogy of on 9/11, Osama bin Laden and his band of jihadists could have crewed a pirate ship. And now these people are all over the place, literally from the Morocco to the Philippines. You could find Islamic State or Al-Qaeda or some other jihadist faction, people that are willing to go out and commit political violence. And a big part of why that that spread is because the U.S. dropped drone strikes all over the Middle East and North Africa and South Asia and killed tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people with drones alone. And that's set all these people into this path of following jihadism.
Absolutely. Angela, to you. Categories nuclear weapons, or as Bush would say, nuclear. Does nuclear deterrence still keep the world safer?
Just so I hate the idea of nuclear weapons. They shouldn't exist, but they do exist, unfortunately, and Iran should have gotten some.
Yeah, we
Everybody
tend to
else
not
has them. Either everybody else has them or no one has them. It's not going to work any other way, and Israel has them.
I'll give 100 points to Angela for that answer. That's solid.
Yeah, we tend to not mess with the countries that have nuclear weapons. Apparently, Iran's the biggest threat. Not North Korea, not China, not Russia, but Iran's the biggest threat to us right now, right? Totally agree. Jason, to you. Should the United States reduce its nuclear arsenal over time?
Definitely. The nuclear arsenal is far larger than it ever realistically needed to be, and it's far too expensive to maintain at current levels.
Totally agree. Kyle, to you. Categories war and civil liberties. Do wars often lead to expanded government power at home?
Yeah, just look at what ICE is doing day to day in the United States of America, or any police force. All of our local police forces have Bearcats and armored vehicles and all kinds of crazy, what was supposed to be surplus military equipment from the Iraq and Afghan wars. Our police are completely out of control and militarized, and also the government has more and more incentive to crack down on the freedom of the people as they realize that we're being lied into these wars to benefit the donors of the politicians. And we're going to continue to rise up and oppose that. And so they need a militarized police force to come and be able to crack down on us. So yeah, the wars always come home.
For sure. Angela, to you. Do wars lead to permanent expansions of government surveillance?
Yes, there's never any rollback. There will never be any rollback. It'll just continue on. And every regime, it will get worse and worse too. There's no changing that. It's not how power works.
Totally agree. Jason, to you. Categories, the war propaganda machine. Do governments use propaganda to build support for wars?
Of course, if they didn't use propaganda, they'd never get a good war off the ground.
That's true. Kyle, to you. Does media coverage sometimes push the country toward military action?
Oh, they always push the country towards military action. Look at the people who are occupying the positions of journalism at mainstream outlets right now. It's Charlie Savage and Natasha Bertrand, right? These are people who just take the information given to them by members of the CIA or the Pentagon or the administration, and then they publish it without actually thinking or vetting, is it true, or why is the administration telling us this? They just publish whatever they're given, and they push Americans into wars.
100%. Angela, to you. Categories, NATO expansion. Did expanding NATO increase tensions with rival powers?
Yes, and that's the intention. It's there to create chaos and war and disease and famine and ugliness. It's really just a street gang with lots of, bazooms and flames and bombs and things. That's all NATO is. It shouldn't exist. It's a horrible, horrible institution.
Did you say bazooms?
Totally true. Jason, to you. Should the United States reconsider security guarantees that could pull it into new wars?
Definitely. We get pulled into enough wars as it is without having a bunch of guarantees that are going to ensure that we get into more and more as time goes on.
Yes, sir. Kyle, to you. Oh, nope. That's it. That's it for the night. Enter your scores in the chat. Make sure you've donated to antiwar.com/donate. Tell us who you thought won. Tell us what you thought of the night. Let's jump in the chat one last time here. Points to the staff of Anti-War News. Donation made tonight. Excellent. Thank you, Paula. Points to Angela for the satin blazer. Yeah, that's it wasn't pajamas. She looked great. Points to Kyle. Warfare has become like a wildfire. Points to Kyle for the good stats. Points to Angela. She's right 100%. Points to Angela. Kaczynski was right about technology. Oh, we got a shout out to Ted on the show tonight. Points to Angela for the cyber battlefield. Points to Jason. We're seeing the cost of war. War is dirty. Points to Jason. Points to Kyle. Congress is filled with cowards. Points to Angela. Why? So yeah. Points to Kyle. The literal jellyfish has more spine than Congress. Points to Kyle. War is war, regardless of weaponry. Oh, damn, Kyle. It's not the drones. It's the cowardice of Congress. Points to Kyle. Points to Angela. Congress should have oversight, but that's not why they exist. 100%. Points to Jason. Making a war zone everywhere makes more enemies. Points to me for getting fentanyl in the anti-war show. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of my meme where I called it fentanyl. Points to Jason. Forgot why, but it was a good reason. Trust my plan. Thank you for attention to this matter. Points to Angela. Brilliant answers all night. Full stop. Points to Kyle for giving 100 to Angela. Points for the basest of takes to Angela. I hate nuclear weapons. 2 points to Angela. Points to Angela because I said so. Points to Kyle for the anti-ICE cop take. Points to Angela. The state continues to grow. Points to Angela. I counted the books on her shelf. 1,456.22. I don't see the 0.22, but points to Kyle. Over weaponized police state. Points to Jason. If we're killing, we're waging war. Power doesn't roll back. Points to Angela. Points to Jason. Without propaganda, there would be mass support for war. Points to Jason. No propaganda, no war. Correct. Short, quick, wise, brilliant answer. Points to Angela. NATO is a street gang. Points to Angela for being anti-NATO. It's an aggressive organization. Points to Angela. Street gang equals NATO. Speak truth. Points to Angela for whatever the heck the bazooms meant.
You'll have to consult my colleagues on that.
We'll have to go to the instant replay on that one. Points to Eric Garris because anti-war. Points to Jason. Security guarantees are bullshit. And points to Angela. Scientific wording bazooms. All right. Let's see where we ended up. Oh my God, was this close? This might have been our closest one ever. Let's check it out. Kyle, 76.25. Angela, 75.75. Jason, 74.75. What a fun show. Jason, you came in third place. You were concise but amazing. What did you think tonight?
Well, I think it was rigged, and I think that we need my supporters to get out and protest and make sure that this doesn't stand.
All right. Well, plug your stuff and tell people where to find you.
Okay. Well, I'm on news.antiwar.com, writing almost every day, and I also write for Seeking Alpha. I'm at Jason Ditz on Twitter and at Jason C. Ditz on B-Sky. So I'm around.
Excellent. Yeah, and like he said, Jason's the senior editor and writer at antiwar.com, and you can find him on X at Jason Ditz. Appreciate you doing this, brother. This was a lot of fun. Angela, you came up just short. What did you think?
This is great. I can't wait until Dave can do this so you can have a real hard discussion with the three guys. But I'm just grateful. Thank you for having me on the show. I haven't been on a show for many years, and I was a little freaked out.
No, you were amazing. You did a great job. I hope you had fun. People loved you. So, and you can find Angela. She's the executive director of antiwar.com. Check them out at antiwar.com on X, as well as Anti-War News. Really appreciate you and all the great work you're doing. Thanks for doing this. And I mean, it must have been harder with ovens over your shoulder too, by the way. But
oh, and thanks to all the people, all the readers and all the people I asked to watch and all the donations. Thank you so much.
Of course. And Kyle, you took the victory. What'd you think?
I had a lot of fun. I guess I'm lucky that I didn't get docked for being the longest winded of the three of us in pretty much every single answer. So yeah, it was great to talk to my antiwar.com colleagues and everybody. Thank you so much for donating. We do an awful lot with the little staff. I mean, you're looking at probably half the team here tonight, maybe a third of it if we're counting some people who help us more like on a part-time basis. We're really just missing Eric and Dave and Scott and Margaret, I guess. So, we're putting your money to good use, anything you give us. So, of course, check out my show, The Kyle Anzalone Show, but read antiwar.com every day. Jason, along with Dave DeCamp, really do heroic work following the news every single day at that site.
100%. And like Kyle mentioned, he's the host of the Kyle Anzalone Show. He's also news editor at libertarianinstitute.org, another amazing organization, also at judgenap.com, and he's with antiwar.com, obviously. And you can find him on X at Kyle Anzalone with the underscore at the end. Don't miss the underscore. He's actually got fakers out there. He's that big of a deal that he's got fakers pretending to be him on X. So you got to have the underscore. And let me add Terry back in here. Terry, what'd you think tonight?
You know, what a difficult topic to have a good time on. And you guys were absolutely awesome. And I learned, which I love to do. Everybody knows that. But you were great. You did a great job. All of you were first timers on the show. So I was very impressed. And, don't you guys love our chat? I mean, they are just so awesome. And you guys did a great job tonight. I appreciate you all.
Thanks, Terry. You do a great job every time. You can follow me and Terry on X. I am Smarter Game Show. She is Bat T76. Our swag is at freedomsuperstore.com. You can get our shirts and mugs there. I'm wearing the Make Anarchy Great Again shirt tonight. The shorts will be up on YouTube at Freedom Uncut. Thank you to our sponsor, Xano. Your privacy matters. Choose Xano, the leading blockchain platform that prioritizes confidentiality and security. And if you're new to the space, check out intro.xano.org. It'll get you up to speed. And our Tuesday sponsor is Zoom, and the lovely Avens O'Brien has been amazing tonight, as she always is. They have both these products, Zoom Beyond Mushrooms, as well as Plur, the Beyond Molly, and it's zoomtrip.com, xumtrip.com. And check us out at the Libertarian Conventions. We'll be at North Carolina, March 27th through 29th. April, we're in Texas and Colorado. The National Convention, May 21st through 25th in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Thank you again to all of our subscribers. We are hemorrhaging money with all this travel and everything we're doing. So thank you so much. You can subscribe to us on X. And if you want to sponsor the show, email studio@freedomuncut.com. Thank you so much to the chat. You guys make this so much fun. And you're helping us bust through all of the algorithms problems when you're talking about anti-war stuff and fighting against the state. So we really appreciate you. We will be back Tuesday, St. Patty's Day. And so that'll be a lot of fun. 8 p.m. Eastern. We will see you all then. Thank you so much to everybody. One last time, donate to antiwar.com/donate. Your money goes to good use there. They're doing amazing work. The only ones talking out against the empire and reporting the news that really matters when it comes to all of this war nonsense. So we appreciate them.